Lin Qi sect belonged to Donglin province, located on a mountain range along the lower reaches of the Tangshan River, spreading across both the northern and southern banks. The sect had a history of 10,000 years and wielded power that intimidated all directions. The sect consisted of 8 mountains perpetually shrouded in mist, spanning across the Tangshan River. On the north bank stood 4 tall mountains, 3 on the south bank, and 1 massive peak rose right in the middle of the river. The upper half of the central mountain was covered in snow, hiding its summit from view. The lower half had been eroded by the river's golden waters, forming natural passages through the rock. From afar, the mountain looked like a magnificent natural bridge. At that moment, a rainbow path was speeding toward the southern bank of Lin Qi sect. Inside it, the middle-aged cultivator Li Qing'o was carrying Bai Shouxun straight to the miscellaneous tasks area atop the third mountain. Faint cries of Bai Shouxun's despair could be heard from within the rainbow. Bai Shouxun felt as if he had nearly been frightened to death. During the journey, he had seen countless mountains, often losing all sense of clinging to his companion. Suddenly he felt dizzy. When he came to his senses, he found himself outside a building complex. Standing on the ground, the surrounding world looked completely different from the villages he knew, and his legs still trembled. Next to the complex stood a large vertical stone slab, with 3 characters written in bold, dragon, and phoenix calligraphy. Miscellaneous tasks area. Beside the stone slab sat a pockmarked woman. Upon seeing Li Qing'o, she quickly rose and bowed. "Take him to the fire stove room." Li Qing'o said this and, without paying further attention to Bai Shouxun, turned into a rainbow path and departed. The pockmarked woman's eyes flickered with surprise at the words, "fire stove room," and she glanced at Bai Shouxun before handing him a bag of miscellaneous supplies from the sect. Without expression, she briefly explained his duties and then led him out of the area. As they walked, they passed closely packed halls and pavilions, roads paved with green stones, and fragrant flowers filling the air. The scenery was nothing short of celestial. Seeing this, Bai Shouxun's heart leapt with excitement. His worries significantly eased. "This place. It's so much better than my village," Bai Shouxun said, eyes shining with anticipation. The further they went, the more vibrant and beautiful the scenery became. Along the way, he even passed by several stunning women, making him love the place even more. Soon, Bai Shouxun's excitement peaked as he arrived in front of a 7-story gleaming pavilion, with immortal cranes circling in the sky. "Senior sister, have we arrived?" Bai Shouxun asked excitedly. "Yes, over there." The pockmarked woman replied calmly, pointing to a narrow path beside the pavilion. Following her gesture, Bai Shouxun froze. Rubbing his eyes, he looked again. On that narrow path, the road was rough and patchy, the surroundings dilapidated. A few shabby huts looked ready to collapse at any moment, with an odd stench wafting from the area. Bai Shouxun almost wept. Clinging to a final shred of hope, he asked the pockmarked woman, "Senior sister, perhaps you're mistaken." "No," the woman said flatly, stepping onto the narrow path. Bai Shouxun felt all his hopes collapse in an instant, wearing a look of despair as he followed. After a while, he saw several enormous black cauldrons being carried back and forth. Upon closer inspection, under each cauldron was a corpulent man, so fat that his body seemed ready to spill fat with the slightest push. The last one in line looked like a moving mountain of flesh, enough to make Bai Shouxun nervous at the mere thought of it exploding. Around them were hundreds of bowls, into which they carefully poured water and rice. Seeing the pockmarked woman arrive, the mountain of flesh was overjoyed, lifting a huge ladle and shaking the ground with his movements. Bai Shouxun instinctively reached for the hammers he carried. "This morning I heard the guest bird sing. So it's you, senior sister. Have you had a change of heart, thinking my literary talents merit us becoming companions on the way today?" The corpulent man's small eyes gleamed with excitement as he approached. "I've brought him here to join your fire stove room. He has arrived. I take my leave." The pockmarked woman's expression darkened, a hint of annoyance in her eyes as she quickly withdrew. Bai Xiaoxun took a deep breath. Along the way, he had noticed this pockmarked woman. Her appearance was extraordinary. Yet under the care of this massive man, her beauty became all the more rare. Before Bai Xiaoxun could think further, the corpulent man blocked his view entirely, his body dwarfing Bai Xiaoxun in shadow. Bai Xiaoxun tilted his head to look up. The rolls of flesh on the man still quivered. Swallowing hard, Bai Xiaoxun realized he had never seen anyone so fat before. The corpulent man's resentful gaze lingered on the pockmarked woman, then slid over Bai Xiaoxun. Oh ho, a newcomer, able to surpass Su Baokai's position, not simple at all. "Senior brother, I am Bai Xiaoxun." Bai Xiaoxun instinctively stepped back, feeling the pressure from the massive figure. "Bai Xiaoxun? Fair skin, small and lively, not bad, not bad. Your name suits my taste." The corpulent man's eyes brightened as he grabbed Bai Xiaoxun's shoulder, almost making him fall backward. "And your name, senior brother?" Bai Xiaoxun asked, inhaling deeply, a hint of skepticism in his eyes. "I am Jiang Daiban. That's Wang Urban and Er Sanban." The corpulent man chuckled. Hearing the names, Bai Xiaoxun could only sigh, realizing these people's personalities matched their names, and all thoughts of mischief left him. "As for you, from now on, you shall be called Bai Ju, junior disciple. You're too thin. If you go out like this, you'll disgrace the fire stove room. But don't worry, in a year you'll plump up. You'll be Bai Juban." Jiang Daiban patted his chest, the fat on him shaking. Upon hearing the name Bai Juban, Bai Xiaoxun's face soured. "You are now the 9th junior disciple. You are no longer an outsider. Our fire stove room has a tradition of carrying cauldrons. See that cauldron behind me? It is the king of cauldrons, made from iron star, engraved with the earth fire formation. Cooking spirit grains in it gives flavors far superior to ordinary cauldrons. You should pick one to carry yourself, so your presence is imposing." Jiang Daiban gestured proudly to the black cauldron. "Senior brother, do I have to carry a cauldron?" Bai Xiaoxun glanced at it nervously, imagining himself hauling one on his back. "Of course, carrying cauldrons is our tradition. If others see you with a cauldron on your back, they'll know you belong to the fire stove room and dare not provoke you. Our fire stove room has considerable influence." Jiang Daiban's eyes glared. Then he led Bai Xiaoxun to a small thatched house. Inside were thousands of large cauldrons, most covered in a layer of dust. Clearly no one had used them for years. "9th junior disciple, choose one. We still have to cook. If the rice burns, the outer disciples will get noisy again." Jiang Daiban said and hurried off with the other fat men. Bai Xiaoxun quietly observed the cauldrons, pondering which one to pick. He noticed one in a corner, partially hidden. This cauldron was peculiar oval, not round. At first glance, it resembled a turtle shell. Bai Xiaoxun's eyes lit up. He had always loved black turtles, which symbolized longevity. Since he wanted to cultivate immortality, the turtle-shaped cauldron seemed auspicious. He pulled it out and examined it carefully. From a distance, Jiang Daiban noticed and rushed over with his ladle. "9th junior disciple, are you sure about this one? It's been here for countless years, and no one dared touch it because it resembles a turtle shell. Are you certain?" Jiang Daiban asked kindly. "Absolutely, I will use this cauldron." Bai Xiaoxun's admiration for it grew stronger. Jiang Daiban cautioned once more, but seeing Bai Xiaoxun resolute, thought him peculiar and said no more. He arranged a small house for Bai Xiaoxun in the fire stove room and went off with the others. By evening, Bai Xiaoxun sat in his small house, carefully examining the turtle-shaped cauldron. He noticed faint lines on its back, 10 or more, almost invisible. He felt it extraordinary and placed it on the stove. He then looked around his room. It was simple, with a single bed, a table, and a mirror on the wall. Just as he looked back at the cauldron, it suddenly flashed a faint violet light and disappeared. Much had happened today. Though he had arrived in the immortal world he longed for, he felt a bit lost. After a while, he took a deep breath, eyes full of expectation. "I want immortality," Bai Shosun said, taking out the bag of miscellaneous supplies given by the pockmarked woman. Inside were a pill, a wooden sword, an incense stick, spare clothes, a token, and a bamboo book with small characters. Corpse Key Mastery, Key Condensation of Heaven. It was already dusk, the busiest time for Jiang Ban and the fire stove room. Bai Shoshun sat down to study the bamboo book, eyes shining. He had come here for immortality, and now the key to it was in his hands. He took a few deep breaths and opened the book. Excitement filled his eyes. The bamboo book had 3 illustrations. According to the text, cultivation had 2 realms, key condensation and bamboo core. Corpse Key Mastery had 10 levels, corresponding to 10 stages of key condensation. Furthermore, reaching a certain level allowed one to control external objects at will. By the 3rd level, one could control half a cauldron's weight. At the next, over half. By the 9th, a full cauldron. At mastery, 2 cauldrons. The book only showed the first 3 levels. Moreover, cultivation required special breathing techniques and movements. Bai Shosun prepared himself, adjusted his breathing, closed his eyes, and mimicked the movements in the illustrations. However, he could only endure 3 breaths before his body ached unbearably, unable to continue. The breathing method also made him feel short of air, so difficult. The first illustration says one should feel a faint qi flowing inside. "But all I feel is discomfort," Bai Shoshun said despondently. Yet, for immortality, he clenched his teeth and tried again. From morning to dusk, he still felt nothing. He didn't know that even someone with extraordinary talent would need at least a month to master the first level of Corpse Key Mastery without external assistance. He had only trained a few hours. His whole body ached. Bai Shosun stretched, intending to wash his face, when suddenly loud noises came from outside the window. He peeked out and saw a pale young man standing at the front gate of the fire stove room, face ashen. "Who's the replacement for Subeo Kai? Step out and face me."